Namaste, everyone. It is me, Nina Sachs from Yoga Awakening Africa. It is lovely to be here today. Today, I am joined with Simmi. Welcome from now. We had a good laugh about this already because it's home yoga.
Thank you so much.
Not
Glad
home
to be here.
yoga. So it's HOHM.yoga. So please, won't you just give everyone a little intro on kind of like what's with the name and where you're at?
Okay, so actually, it's H to the Ohm, like home, or you can even draw it out like a home yoga. Yeah, so that's where it comes from. I thought more people would get it, but no.
We're still a little
what
bit.
is it?
Brilliant. But
Yeah.
now that you've shared it with us, like it makes so much sense and it's so much fun. And it's, like it's not taking things too seriously either, which is fantastic. Lovely. All right, Simmi, so what's your story? How did you get into yoga? How did you move from like Durban Party Girl to like into this line of work? Because it does happen. It does happen regularly, but it doesn't happen all that often. So how did yoga come about, and why did you decide to carry on with it? That's the second part as well. Kind of like, usually it gets like, why continue with it, and everything that you offer. So go.
Yes. Okay. So it all started. I mean, I've always been like, as a kid, I loved gymnastics. I loved like the kind of tumbly stuff and dancing. I was always loved dancing, but I was never like the best dancer or the one who was ever chosen. So the idea actually of yoga not being competition was like, it's ticked all the boxes for me. It was very great. So I would dabble in a little bit of yoga with a free Groupon here or there, but I wasn't really that much interested in it, just for more when it was hot yoga in the winter time. And then I got robbed, so that was the big like basically there was like, it was me and a whole bunch of friends living together. I used to be the newborn baby photographer for 3 hospitals in Durban. So I would do St. Augustine's, Parklands, Westville, drive there every morning, take the newborn baby photo. So that's how funny the doula circle comes back, because I never thought I was going to tick that back in that box again. But yeah, we'll get there. So then I was just like, after I got robbed, I was their getaway driver. And I just was like, I mean, I was perfect. I wasn't harmed. They didn't hurt me. But it was like, I was a mess after that. And I didn't know, I never had like coping skills of how to relax or what to do. It was just drink, smoke, try and drink it away, smoke it away, try to forget, but not being able to. But then I was just a wreck. I was like having car crashes, this, that. I just couldn't do it anymore.
And it's like your whole nervous system just goes like, ooh, and you go
exactly.
And if you don't know how to regulate and down regulate in a healthy way, it's really hard. And then it's kind of like things spiral further and further out of control. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there one day thinking like, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. Just like sitting there crying, people giving you tea, like, I don't know what to do. And then as a joke, actually, when I was in school, I had written as number 1, our teachers asked us to write goals or what we want to do. And I wrote, go study yoga in Thailand on that list. And then I said it to my friends. We were sitting having drinks, smoking, carrying on. And I said to her, you know what? That was what I said. And she's like, well, why don't you? And then I was like, yeah, why don't I? So I was like, I'm going to. That's what I'm going to do. So I decided to sell my newborn baby photo business, tell my now husband, because he was kind of like, I don't know, yes, no, whatever. I'm like, well, I'm going to Thailand, bye. So that was that. So then I went, so then I embarked on this journey. I studied at Pyramid Yoga in Thailand, in Copenhagen on the island, and it was mind-blowing. Like, it just, my teacher David, everything about this training is just highly, highly, highly recommended. So I was only going to do the 300-hour 2-month training, and then there was a 1-month healing training that was after that. But I was like, healing, schmealing, whatever, I'm just going to become a yoga teacher. Like, I still didn't fathom what I was getting myself into. And then, but it was like, I think because for other people, they could do the 300 hours, they could go. But for me, that was at my most, the can of worms was like open. Like there was no way I could have left after 2 months. I had to stay for the extra month. So I did that, and that really shifted. My whole world changed from that moment, from that place to the end of the training. I was just laughing for no reason, just like, I'm so happy. I feel so light. I feel so free. And I have no idea why I'm laughing. I'm just laughing because I am so full of joy. So, yeah. And then I just wanted to help other people get some of the relief that I had got through yoga. So that was really the intention, was to be able to help people who had been through stuff what I've been through, and be able to give them some guidance on how you can move through that, and that it is possible. If I think back at it now, that moment when I was being robbed was like, I had this one flash in this one meditation, was when that was the most quietest my mind has actually ever been, in that moment of being robbed. That was like, that gave me a taste for this like state of this nothingness, the state of meditation that you try so hard to get into in normal waking state. So that was quite interesting. So I'm very grateful for that. And it released. It got to the point where like I stopped having nightmares, to the point where, like, especially with we did a lot of mantra, a lot of chanting in a sound dome temple together, and like now I have so much trust that I'm safe and that I'm looked after.
And it's so amazing what you say to me, in the sense that we can't just also heal by ourselves. I think that's like kind of like an underlying theme that I hear, like with what you're saying, is like with this thing of healing, like you knew something needed to happen, so you're off to Thailand and that's where you're going to be. But also what happens is kind of like you're in a group then of amazing people who are all on the same journey together. Everyone's come from different paths and backgrounds, but they all want to go on this yoga learning experience together. And then you kind of like, you end up, I think, sharing stories, you get to know each other, you're able to be vulnerable and open, you're learning. And then, like you're saying, when you bring in the beautiful elements of yoga, the deeper elements of the chanting, of the pranayama, of just sitting in stillness and silence, that is when the magic then happens. And I think it's really so beautiful when we can come together as a group to experience that. And you know, we can do yoga on our mat ourselves, which is great, which is fantastic. And we should all be doing that, you know, and not saying don't do that. But there's another, I think, level of healing when we come together as a group to experience that. And that's why I love the, you know, group classes and the power and the energy that happens with that. If it is any form of circle, if it is I don't know, some people, you know, do the prayer circles, or, you know, the chanting, whatever it may be. I just find that, you know, that vibration just kicks you up into another level.
Yeah, it really does. Hey, it's that multiplier effect. It's just like, I kind of always see it as, you know, if you've got this group of people, you can just add a 0 onto behind that healing with every other person. It's just like this, yeah, the power that you have together is way more potent than the power that you have on your own. And that's what that yoga is. It's that connection, and being able to see that connection in everything.
Yeah. So then you kind of like headed back from Thailand, got home, and decided to get into yoga. From there,
I actually spent a month in Singapore after that, because my parents had, when I went to Thailand, my parents, they lived in Durban. They moved to Singapore for 9 years. They've just come back this last year. So I spent a bit of time with them, and that was it was so interesting, because now I went from kind of vegetarian, all this lifestyle, to like, eat the bacon for breakfast, eat the chicken for lunch, eat the steak for dinner. It was like this complete opposite, drink all the alcohol. So it was like, what? So I had to like navigate that. And then from there, my now husband picked me up on the plane. I said, well, I have to have dinner with my girlfriends first. So we stopped and had a little dinner. And then I moved to the South Coast from there. So yeah, it was based in Durban, but now based in the South Coast, which is an hour from Durban.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then kind of you started small with your yoga and then just started building on from there. I know your passion and love is kind of like basing yourself in the chakras. And we're definitely going to get into this a lot because
Yes.
I love the chakras as well. But for me, kind of like the what connects me to the chakras is the elements. Like I love working with the elements. That speaks to me.
Yes.
Because I think with my high like Vata and Pitta mind, just thinking of those elements helps to super ground me and bring me into focus as well. All right, so tell us a little bit more about kind of like what direction yoga decided that you should be moving in, and what kind of got hooked you, like what parts of yoga hooked you.
So from there, like I actually always wanted to be a teacher when I was young. Well, I always said like that was always something that I would have loved to do, but my dad's always kind of like teachers don't make much money. So, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to study a BCom marketing management. So I actually do have that, but I don't really like to tell people because I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so then so my husband built the yoga studio soon after. It was kind of like, I'm going to go, okay, build me a yoga studio. Okay. So when I came back, we joined forces to build this beautiful yoga studio. I actually started running the backpackers at that time. And then there were just guests here. So it was actually, I think it was awesome that it just pushed me straight into it. I didn't have to message people, advertise, try and get a little class, or like, hey friends, you want to learn. It was just like, there's 2 guests that want to do yoga at 10 o'clock today, and go. And you're like, oh, okay, then all the like that imposter syndrome, especially in the beginning as a new teacher, you're like so afraid, like, oh my goodness, I'm so scared now, I've got to teach this class. It's so interesting how like the journey of a yoga teacher. Now it's like, you can do it with your eyes closed.
I know,
whatever.
And I love that kind of like thing of like kind of like just get thrown into it, because this is what I do with a lot of our teachers as well, because I'm also part of a yoga teacher training academy where we train teachers or people to
Yes.
yoga teachers to become teachers. And a lot of those who kind of like live in the suburb, in the area, once they're qualified, I'll just say, I can't teach today, or like before I moved to Mozambique, that is, like, I can't teach today or tomorrow, like, I need you to fill in for me. Or a lot of students are asking for a class at this time on this day, can you teach? And they can't say no.
Yes, exactly.
And then
exactly. You just have to go through the fear.
Otherwise, you always end up saying, I'll do it next week, or when when the time is right, when there's less stuff happening at work. But sometimes you just need someone or something to throw you into the deep end and say, you go do now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very grateful for that as well. And then it just built from there. So then I was just, so we had this beautiful yoga studio. So, I've still got this. So some of the ladies are still with me that are, they're so amazing. They're all like all over 60, and they all just put all the 21-year-olds to shame every single time. Beautiful. I love it. It's so fun. Yeah. So then I felt pregnant, like quite soon after all of that. I think I was so cleansed from the yoga teachers training that if a sperm just had to look at me, I would have fallen pregnant. It was just like, there was no other way. It was just like, yeah. So then I taught all the way through my pregnancy. I actually ran 5Ks the day before I gave birth I was 10 days late, so like really had to try and get this baby out. And like even that, having that coming from that super strong yoga teachers training and having that first baby, compared to the second baby where I wasn't as fit, wasn't as like as consistent with my practice. The difference in my pregnancies, the second one was more difficult. I felt heavy. I was more tired. The birth was more intense compared to my first birth, where I was doing yoga more, and had just come straight from that place,
and this is so interesting to me. And I think this is what can inspire a lot of women or moms to be out there, is like, you don't need to be scared of exercising, or not necessarily exercising. I don't want to say kind of like if you haven't been exercising, go exercise hard. But like you were saying, you did a 5K run before. If you've, been operating in a certain way, your body knows how to function. If you've been doing planks, yes. You continue going, you can keep building the strength. You don't need to be afraid. Like, our bodies are super adaptable. Women have,
and they love it. Our bodies need it just as much, with or without a baby in our bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to say, like, how you knew kind of like from when your body felt strong and you felt empowered, like how much easier the birthing process was, considering that it was your first, and most women have more trouble with their first than their second because it's kind of a whole new thing. And that's kind of like the second one where you knew your body just wasn't in the shape that it had been before, and how that had made it a little bit more challenging, or you just notice the difference. So I think that's a really important piece of kind of like advice or inspiration for women out there as well, just to remember, like, you're pregnant, make it about you and get yourself sorted.
Definitely.
Cool. All right. Preggie Yoga, 2 kids on the way, or 2 kids out,
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, when I started, I started inviting a lot of people to come and do retreats here after the baby was born. So I was really blessed, because I have been blessed by many incredible yoga teachers that have come and run retreats here, which I then got to go to. That's like in the clause, I'm going to be coming to your classes on your retreats. So that was really, just kept me going. I've been at these, like, I've just kind of attracted, or like made the effort to attract these things in my life, that I didn't just stop there, because it is easy to just stop after you have a baby and you're tired and all of these things, or you get on the mat for 5 minutes and then it's hard to have that time. So that really helped, having all of these beautiful teachers come and just keep you always, every single class you go to, you learn something new, always. It's and that's just constant still to this day. You just, another phrase or a little aha moment here or something, which is why I also love the yoga, because it is this continuous evolution. So yeah, I had lots of people coming and doing their retreats here, and then I've also run quite a lot of retreats as I got stronger, and then I would kind of do my retreat but invite someone with, that kind of thing. And then, so it started with, I remember being in so much fear, just doing a 2-night retreat and being like, is everything going to be okay? This, that. And then did a 7-day retreat. And then it was like, oh my goodness. But now, and then moved to the point where it's the 200-hour training. So with the 200-hour training, that actually, I was like, I think after my second baby, I messaged my teacher, David, in Thailand. And I said to him, please come to South Africa. I need you. You have to come. So he said to me, well, if you do a teacher's training, I will come and graduate your students. It worked out that he came and opened the teacher's training for that first teacher's training. So that was really incredible. Yeah, definitely a highlight is practicing with my teacher in my yoga studio. So that was very, very special.
That's very special. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people can say that, they've managed to do that. And it's so nice to have that connection and that follow through, and just kind of like that energy imparted into the space as well. And
yeah, it really did make a difference for me, for him, like, to just the reminders and the stuff that I had of that week being with him, like before and during that training, was just like, it got me going in the right way. So it was very, very cool. And then aerial yoga fits somewhere in between there, actually. So after, like, I'm always, when my husband built the studio, I said to him, we need to be able to hang from the ceilings. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I know that I need that to happen. I need that to be a possibility. So that's why he chose the biggest beams and this and that and all of the stuff. So that was great. And then when I was pregnant, actually, I had this vision of like hanging from something, because that's gonna, help with you feel a bit more weightless. So I got some fabric from my friend, started searching YouTube videos, trying to figure out how to tie this knot. And eventually I found how to tie the knot. So I made my own little contraption, but it was like the wrong fabric and it was extra stretchy, but I made it work, and it was very cool. And then
I love
one girl. Yes.
So practical. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm just going to go and make it happen. Like, I'm
try and figure it out.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sometimes it's a hit. Sometimes it's a miss. Thank goodness this one was a hit. Yes. Yeah. So then I started, then the girl contacted me to do an aerial training at the Backpackers. So I was like, yes, perfect. That one it was very, very yogi, very simple aerial. There wasn't much. It was like, it was a nice little weekend. And then I actually, another girl came, and she's now one of my good friends. Candace, she's in Benoni, and she's actually gone from pole dancing backwards towards yoga. So like a different direction. So she said, can she do an aerial training here, a KZN one? So then I said yes. And that was actually, she was the one who really broadened my knowledge on aerial. I mean, obviously I'd learned a lot of stuff in between, because there is so much you can do on YouTube and stuff like that. So yeah, she comes once a year. She's got timeshare just up the road here. So she's always, it's perfect because she's always, again, forcing me to do the things that I'm lazy to do. She's like, Sim, I'm coming to the beach. We're going to put bamboo poles up on the beach and we're going to hang upside down. And it's happening, girl. It's happening. So I'm like, okay, fine. So it's like, it's nice. I've got these people that keep pushing me.
And I love what you say, Sim, as well, because kind of like you need those people in your lives who are going to push you to do the things that you know are good for you. And I think too often we surround ourselves with people who they're nice people, but there's just like a complacency. It's kind of like let's just go out and drink wine and have a pizza, or go out for tea and cake and coffee, which is all good and well, every now and then. But you actually really want to surround yourself with people who are going to say, all right, let's go off for a hike, let's go throw bamboo poles and like go hang upside down, because that's what's going to really help us evolve and also shift our limiting beliefs. I know that's a big thing for you as well, that you were chatting about, this idea of like, these limiting beliefs. If we have those, like, we need someone or something to help us just shift out of that, because when we let go of those limiting beliefs, we can go so much further than we actually ever dreamt of. I don't know
exactly.
If you want to talk to that, because I know it's a big thing for you as well.
Yeah, this picture comes to mind that I drew. I actually wish I had it here. It was like, how they say the sky is the limit. And then I just drew this little, say, if you can say halfway, it's like, there's the sky. And then it was like, there's the limit. Like it's beyond the sky, We put all of these glass ceilings that we don't even know are there, that through this work that we do, through the silent sitting, through I did Vipassana, I think it was 2 years ago, which was also very like, you just dig deeper and deeper, and you just are unpacking more and pulling out more weeds. And it really is that we don't even know about how our beliefs are affecting us, how our past traumas are still playing out in our lives. In ways that we don't even know until we keep doing the inner work, until we keep revisiting, re-looking, or being in the moment and asking ourselves, how does this maybe relate to something that happened in the past? And I'm always picking up on these parallels. Doesn't mean I've shifted them all yet, but there's always these like more cycles of like this onion layer of peeling it back, where you realize, hang on, that was just a limiting belief. I don't have to believe that. So I'm always just like, go the opposite extreme. Just like, what if you had all the money, all the this, all the everything, what does your life look like? Like if you're speaking to the old version of yourself and she's on her deathbed and she's lying there and she's like so joyful and she's had this beautiful life, it's like, what are the things that got me to that place? And then kind of work backwards from that.
Yeah.
Because then you like aim for the sky.
I think that's such an important point, because often we limit ourselves and our dreams and our capacities to where we are right now. And we don't have the bigger picture, because we don't dream in the sense like, what would happen if I had X amount of funds to invest in the training, the teaching, the traveling, the healthcare, whatever that, that is out there. And I think that's such an important aspect to do, kind of like where you have that deathbed perspective, where you look back and you're lying there and you're kind of like, okay, like, if I'm lying there and I'm, happy, smiling, and no regrets, with kind of like, or maybe not no regrets, because I don't think any of us ever have no regrets. I think they always have very few regrets. But like, did I do the things that made me fully happy and alive? And was I doing my purpose? Was I following my dharma? And, if you can be in that space and say yes, then, and like you say, look back, work from that perspective and go back to where you are. Don't stress about like, how the practicalities of that dream are going to come about, because all of a sudden Thailand happened, all of a sudden the studio was there. You wouldn't have been able to imagine that maybe if you're really young, kids are pretty good with having like a
yeah, the kids are good at this
image. But you know, as we age, we struggle with that a bit more.
Yeah. I think we get stuck in our little lives, and it's like, and just doing all the things that we need to do, and that kind of keeps us with a smaller perspective, with in that our focal point is just on these things around us and the people and the places, and that's going to keep us just repeating the same patterns and creating the same results. So instead of that, then we start to ask ourselves, like, what is it that we want to feel, and then what's going to bring me that, and then just try to find a place of like bigger perspective. Then all of a sudden, when you do step back and you see that, then you see, oh, okay, there was that opportunity, there was that. I just didn't see those things when I was so worried about all these little things right in front of me. So it's like, let go of these little things, because the money's going to, trust that the money is going to come, trust that this is going to come. And then you'll see that maybe it's like, I've done a few trainings and stuff like that, where it's been exchanges, where I've really wanted to do a training and I've contacted them and I've said, hey, I've got a training, or I've got this to offer, or whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a training. Would you mind an exchange? Or, I mean, a lot of people are so open to like, I can't afford this. I could afford this to pay you off over this many months, or something like that. Even if someone, you know, I always give that to people for the offer. And like, if as an offer, if you can't pay for the yoga teachers training, for example, but you want to pay it off over months, that's cool, because it's, you know, it's like, it's kind of a give and a take. So yeah, when you're not stressed and worried and bogged down by those things, then you can start to see the other opportunities around you.
Yeah. And that is so important, because I think so many people now struggle with so much anxiety and stress, and those kind of like feelings of overwhelm are really, really heavy. And then kind of like depression sets in.
Yes.
And sometimes we just need to kind of like have structures in place that allow us to navigate certain areas of our lives with sense of confidence, but also realizing, you know, that there's always a level of growth that we need to invest in doing a teacher training, and that there are ways around to make it happen. We just need to be creative about how we're going to find
exactly.
It might
That's
be
the
like,
word.
You know, is there an aunt or an uncle who willing to like invest in you? You know, there's with the Patreon and then the GoFundMe, you know, they're people who probably in your network who are happy to support you on a journey if they can see and feel that this is something that you're really wanting to commit to. So
yes. Yeah. That's actually what happened to one of the girls on our training this time. She said, it's my 30th birthday, aunts and uncles and family, everyone put in, I want to do the training, it's happening. So that's how she was on the training.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of getting like 100 pairs of, you know, socks and candles and underwear or whatever the story is, like, cool, you know, whatever you want to spend on me, please put that towards that. I think that is such a fabulous idea. And also it kind of like makes everyone, it makes you prepare for it. And it makes you take it seriously, the investment. It's not just kind of like, you know, going to go do this little workshop or training or kind of like a workshop or class, you know, willy-nilly. You're really going to, it's going to have meaning to you, especially if there are other people who've invested and imparted kind of like their hard-earned, you know, money, cash for you to go ahead and do what speaks to your heart. And when we do that from a space of deep connection and deep yearning, I think the value of it is magnified. So
yeah, for sure.
Simmi, I know we could probably go on for like an hour now. We haven't even like touched on like the chakra yoga stuff that we wanted to touch on, the pranayama, the yoga teacher training, the Preggie Yoga, the doula, all of that. So we're definitely going to have another one of these, actually probably a good many of these.
I'm happy anytime.
Maybe you can impart with like all our listeners and viewers, you know, some tricks when it comes to, or your insights on the chakra yoga, yoga teacher training. Maybe we can do something with regards to that, and then pregnancy yoga. So we're going to have to, I think, do at least 3 more probably this year if you're up for that.
I'm more than happy.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. So for 2023, what is your plans? What are you excited about this year before we?
Ooh, 2023, 2020 me, 2023. I've got like all the rhyming words. So actually, when we do the chakra, part of the chakra training is like working out your birthday numerology to see what chakra your main energy path, which is I love it. And then you can break it down into what year you're in. So yeah, if anyone wants to do a session, or I'll do, send me your birthday and I'll do yours for you. So then so for example, yeah, it's so fun. So for example, my main energy is a third chakra. So it's like fiery, like more, kind of outgoing, able to shift and go with the flow. And then last year was like, I was in a 3-year, which last time I was in a 3-year was in Thailand, going through this massive transformation. So I was kind of expecting to have this, and I was like, where's my massive transformation like Thailand happened? But I think there's only so many like awakenings you can have before you like on the other side. So it's like, okay. So this year is the year of healing for me. So it's like now I've gone into a 4, it's more calm. So it's going to be the first time that I'm doing a part-time online teachers training, which is going to start. I think we're going to finish registrations end of April, and then we'll go into the material in the beginning from May. I haven't exactly structured what the week is going to look like, but it's probably 2 or 3 yoga, like 2-hour slots of, I can never just do physical yoga, just like hatha by itself. So there's always breathing, there's always mantra, especially when it comes to the teachers training workshops. They're a little bit longer, so that we really don't have to rush through the juicy stuff. We've got more time to practice. So the idea is over 9 months or 10 months to have little bits of time to digest the information and stuff a lot more. So I think both of the places have their place, like both of the different teachers trainings have their place. The immersions, you're there, you're out of your environment, so you just are like on fire, just like, what is this? You're just shifting. You have no choice but to like break out of your shell and to like something has to move. Whereas the more online slow over time, you've got more time to digest the chunks of information, more time to really kind of focus on that area before you move to the next one. Whereas the 31 is like quite overwhelming because there's so much information in so short time. So I feel like they both have their place. We finally have decent internet coming, which is why I can start to offer online things. Can you even imagine? So that's where this is going. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome. Yes, I'm excited. And then I just did this last weekend, aerial yoga teachers training in Umhlanga. It was absolutely divine. I just loved it. And then once a year, I do an aerial yoga teachers training in Cape Town. Which we did last year, which was also, so that's going to be like a yearly thing every year. I'm looking at I don't know when I'm going to do it. And I've got people bugging me to do the aerial teachers training here, but I'm like, we've actually got Germans coming to visit us. So my husband's German, so he's got all his German friends arriving from tomorrow, staggering in. When one comes, they all have to come, and everyone's got FOMO.
Trust me, I know. I've got half my side of the family is German as well. So kind of like when they arrive, they're all arriving in tow.
Yes, together. Yeah. So I'm actually trying to like focus on those things. And then obviously the red tent has been my latest training that I've just finished. I did it with Janaki Ashari, and it was actually so beautiful. It was my first like online kind of thing together, which I wasn't expecting to have this like community of sisters that I like can't wait to see or phone or speak to, and then we ended up with a training and with a retreat, and we got to meet each other. So it's just like this whole another group of girls, and the whole idea of the red tent training is just like learning how to really hold space, even in awkward moments of silence, and just to see them and let these women like let the voice of the womb come out. So it's so interesting because you're like, we're stuck in our head so much, and we're always talking from this place, and we're trying to make sense of everything, and it's always coming from here. Whereas with the red tent training now, we drop from our head, we move into our heart, and then we drop from our heart into our womb, and then we let the womb speak, and what comes out is not what your head is saying, and it's often surprises you of what's coming up. You think, and it's so funny because the one who says the person who says, I don't have much to say, is usually the one who's got a lot to say. And then the idea is just like you hold the silence after every share for a long, awkward silence. But you'll find that like there'll be another wave of thoughts of something that will come up that they'll keep sharing. So it's like just giving these women this time and the space for them to share the depth of their cave. And it really is so transformational and so powerful. Like the one girl, I love her, she's so cute. She's like, she came to the red tent on like the Tuesday, and then I think I did another one a week later. She's like, my life has changed so much since I did the last red tent, which was like 5 days ago. Actually this woman now she's pregnant.
Have to get into that as well. I think we're going to have like, I don't know, five
so many things. Yeah, and what's amazing about her is so now she's fallen pregnant. Like, I mean, she's a very big surprise, but she always said she was only going to have a cesarean. But now through this red tent womb journey, she's like, she doesn't think she wants that anymore. She actually wants to, like, she's shifted her feelings with her body, and her relationship with her womb has changed. And now, yeah, everything's changed. So she's like, I don't know how I'm going to navigate this. Like, well, I got you, girl. We got this. So yeah, so that's also what happens this year, is that I'm going to start. So I did the hypnobirthing training with Kim, if your name is Kim Young, it was the first thing I did after my son was born, when he was old enough to, like, I took him with me, and it was like a 4-day training, and you do 2 days of hypnosis, which is really amazing because it connects with the yoga nidra stuff so well. So that's just this whole. And I think there's always an underlying bit of hypnosis now when I'm teaching, because I understand, like when you're in these deep relaxations, that's when the wall between the conscious and the subconscious goes down. And when you come out of that relaxation, you've got those 10 or 20 minutes that these people are still in that hypnotic state where when you're planting the right seeds of positivity, of you can be whatever you want to be, in those moments specifically, that's going to have a deeper effect on their brains, on their subconscious, for them to move forward. So I always have that underlying hypnosis going on in pretty much all my classes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to start doing 5-week trainings. You do once a week for 2.5 hours, and we work you towards releasing your fears. We do fear releasing scripts, getting to know, like a whole process, so that you prepare for your birth, so that it can be a joyful, beautiful experience. So I really want to get more into the birthing and the doula stuff, because I mean, being a doula, it is so, I think I just do it because I get to witness miracles. I get to be there and have out-of-body experiences while this baby, like a soul, is like two souls are becoming, like two souls together are becoming two souls apart. So it's so powerful. It's very beautiful. So that's why
hearing like the enthusiasm and excitement in your voice. Like you're just totally like living life to the fullest, to your expression. So absolutely amazing. So I'm so glad that we got a chance to connect. I think if we would be neighbors, we would be like best friends. We would be hanging out.
I want to hear more about you now. I feel like I've been talking. I'm like, I need to know more about you.
Well, what I'll do is I'm going to send you my birth date, and then we're going to to have you on again, and you can tell me all about my numbers and my date. And I'll give you some.
Okay, then I'll tell you all about you.
Cool. Love it. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Sending you so much love.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been so lovely.
And all your links will be in the show notes below.
Awesome. Thank you.